I never thought I'd end up here, honestly. My marriage with Lisa started off pretty solid. We met in college, hit it off quickly, and by the time we got married, I thought I knew everything about her, her quirks, her secrets, her little ways of showing love. I mean, she wasn't perfect. She could be bitchy, stubborn as hell, and always had this way of lying about little things just to avoid confrontation. But I loved her, and I figured, what's life without a little chaos? Things were good, or so I thought. We had our ups and downs, but nothing that seemed insurmountable. Then came the signs of trouble. First, little things: she'd be late more often, and when I asked where she was, she'd give these vague answers like out with friends or working late, even though she'd often be home before I was. At first I thought maybe I was overreacting, or maybe she was just stressed. But then I started noticing her phone more often. She'd hide it when I came into the room, and her texts became more frequent and secretive. One night, she forgot to hide her phone. I noticed a message pop up from a contact named Jake, saying things I'd rather not repeat. It was flirtatious, borderline inappropriate stuff about how much she missed him, how things were so much better when they were alone. My stomach dropped. I felt like a fool for not seeing it sooner. But I told myself it's just a stupid crush, or maybe she was just venting. I didn't want to believe she'd do something like that, especially not with my own brother, Mark. Yeah, that's right, my brother. It hit me hard. I always thought Mark was kind of a douchebag, but I never thought he'd be the kind of guy to cheat with his sister-in-law. The weirdest part, I hadn't even suspected him until I started piecing things together. I'd noticed a few odd things around the house: her avoiding me, her getting defensive when I asked about her whereabouts, and that damn phone. So I decided to dig a little more. One day I went into her closet, just a quick look, nothing crazy, and I found it. Hidden behind a pile of her old clothes, a box filled with her messages to Mark. The texts were explicit, not just some innocent flirting. They were about meeting up, having sex, planning the next secret thing they could do. I remember holding the phone in my hand, feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. My heart started pounding, and I felt this rush of anger and betrayal I can't even describe. I mean, she'd lied to my face for months, never giving me a clue. And to think she told me she was just friends with Mark, that he was just a brother who happened to be around sometimes. Yeah, right. The worst part. I started questioning every moment, every hug, every smile, every word she said. Was she ever really mine? Or was I just blind to the truth the entire time? I felt so stupid, so devastated, that I almost didn't want to confront her at first. But I knew I had to. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay, and I definitely couldn't keep living with her secret. So I took a deep breath that night and decided I couldn't keep pretending I didn't see what I saw. I needed to confront her, get her to tell me the truth, even if I already knew it deep down. I waited until she was home from work, and I called her into the living room. She looked annoyed, like I was bothering her about some minor thing, but I wasn't in the mood for her attitude. I laid the evidence on the table: her messages, her secret hiding spot, and watched her face freeze up. "Lisa, what the hell is this?" I asked calmly, but with enough edge to make her realize I wasn't messing around. Her eyes darted around, trying to come up with an excuse. She spun some bullshit about how it was just harmless flirting, that she never meant for it to go this far, that she was just lonely or stressed or some other excuse. She had the nerve to call herself innocent. In the same breath, she kept denying everything. She even had the gall to accuse me of spying on her, as if I was the one cheating. I was furious, but I kept my voice steady. "You expect me to believe that? I found the texts, Lisa. They're not just talking about coffee or catching up. They're talking about having sex, and I saw the messages from Mark too. So tell me again, what the hell is going on?" Her face turned red and she started yelling, calling me crazy, calling me jealous, saying I was just overreacting and that I was accusing her for no reason. That she loved me, that I was the only one, and that I was just paranoid because I didn't trust her. I couldn't take it. It was like watching a scripted lie fall apart in front of me. I told her I couldn't do this anymore, not after everything I'd seen. I asked her straight up if she'd been screwing my brother behind my back, and she finally broke down. She called me a jealous psycho, said I was overreacting because I didn't understand her needs, that she was bored with me. and that I was just some boring, predictable husband who never gave her what she really wanted. She even threw in that I was good enough for her anymore, that she was tired of pretending and wanted to experience sex with someone who actually made her feel alive. The thing is, her reaction was so classic, so full of denial and anger and bitchy arrogance, that I started feeling numb. I mean, I'd always known she could be a bitch, but hearing her basically admit she cheated on me, and with my own brother no less, hit a new level of betrayal I wasn't prepared for. I asked her if she'd been lying all along, if she'd been screwing him for weeks, months even, and she just shrugged like it was no big deal. "People make mistakes," she said. "It doesn't mean I don't love you." Yeah, right. That night's sleep was impossible. I kept replaying everything in my head, her words, her lies, the sight of those messages. I felt a storm brewing inside me, anger, heartbreak, confusion. Part of me wanted to blow up, to scream at her, to throw her out and never look back. Another part just felt shattered, like I'd lost the woman I thought I knew, the woman I loved. I kept asking myself how I let things get this bad, how I didn't see the signs sooner. I thought I knew her, but I was so damn blind. I knew I had to decide what to do next. Confrontation was just the beginning. Now, I needed to figure out if I could forgive her, if I wanted to, or if this was the point where I walk away for good. Either way, I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. I'd been played, lied to, used as some idiot who believed in fairy tales. And honestly, it hurt more than I can say. The morning after the confrontation, everything felt different. I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My head was pounding, and the weight of what I'd uncovered was settling in even deeper. I kept asking myself if I could really forgive her, if I even wanted to try. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the way she lied with such ease, like she didn't care about the damage she caused. For a moment, I wondered if I was overreacting, if maybe I should just forget about it, move past it like so many people tell you to do. But then I remembered how she dismissed my feelings, how she called me jealous and paranoid, how she made me feel like I was crazy for even doubting her. I decided I needed some time alone to think. I grabbed my coffee, sat on the porch, and stared out at the street. My mind was racing, jumping from one thought to another. I kept replaying her words, trying to find some reason, some justification for what she did, but there was none. She cheated, she lied, and worst of all, she seemed to enjoy it. The thought that she might have been doing this for weeks or even months made me feel sick. And the fact that she was still acting like it was no big deal, that just pushed me further into anger. I started making plans, trying to figure out what I was going to do. I couldn't keep living in this lie, pretending everything was fine. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time with a clear plan. I didn't want her to manipulate me with more lies or tears. I wanted the truth, all of it. No more bullshit, no more excuses. I also knew I had to decide whether I could stay if she was truly sorry or if I should just cut my losses and walk away forever. The hardest part was dealing with the emotional fallout. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and angry, so angry I could scream. But underneath all that, there was also this deep sadness, a grief for the marriage I thought we had. I kept asking myself, how did I not see it? How did I miss all the signs? It's one thing to be betrayed, but it's another to feel so stupid for not seeing it coming. I'd always trusted her, always believed she was loyal. Now that trust was broken, shattered into a million pieces. Some part of me wanted to confront her again that day, demand answers, and maybe even try to forgive her if she genuinely begged for it. But another part knew that forgiveness wouldn't come easily or quickly. I needed time to process everything, time to decide if I could ever look at her the same way again. I kept thinking about her bitchy attitude, how she lied so effortlessly, and how she could turn everything around to make herself seem innocent. That anger, that feeling of being played, was so overwhelming I almost couldn't breathe. I realized I wasn't going to get any honest answers from her right away. She'd lie again, I just knew it. She was good at that, at spinning stories and dodging questions. So I decided to give her some space. I needed to get my head straight, think about what I really wanted and whether I could even stay married to someone who could do something so low. I wasn't sure if I could forgive her, if I even wanted to. But I did know one thing: I wasn't going to let her walk all over me anymore. If this was going to end, I was going to be the one calling the shots. Now, I just had to figure out what that meant. Was I going to fight for the marriage? Or was this the point of no return? The answer wasn't clear yet. All I knew was that I couldn't go back to how things used to be. Not after finding out she'd been lying to my face for so long, cheating on me with my own brother, and thinking she could just justify it with her bitchy attitude and empty excuses. I was angry, yeah, but I was also hurt. Deep down, I felt like I'd lost part of myself in all this. A few days went by, and I kept replaying everything in my head, her lies, the messages, the way she looked at me like I was overreacting. Every time I thought I'd cooled down, something new would pop up, and I'd get hit with that familiar flood of rage and betrayal. Honestly, I felt like I was stuck in some weird nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The worst part was knowing that she kept lying, probably even now behind my back, trying to spin her way out of it. I decided I couldn't keep going like this without some kind of plan. I needed answers, real answers, so I set up a little trap of my own. I knew her routine, when she'd leave for work, when she'd come home, what she did during the day. I started paying closer attention, watching her the way she probably thought I was. The first thing I noticed was her phone. She kept it close now, more secretive than ever. I'd catch her texting and deleting, and I knew she was hiding something. One night I saw her sneaking her phone into her purse as she got ready for bed. I waited until she was asleep, then I grabbed her phone. I knew it was risky, but I wanted to see what she was hiding. I didn't expect much, maybe more lies, more bullshit. But what I found made my blood run cold. She'd been talking to Mark again. Not just little flirtations, but full-on messages about meeting up, about having sex again. It was all right there in her own messages, more proof that she'd been cheating right under my nose. That moment was like a knockout punch. I felt like my world was collapsing. All this time I'd convinced myself she was just a little bitchy, maybe a little dishonest, but I never thought she'd be capable of this. And Mark. Don't even get me started on that asshole. My own brother, the guy I used to think I could trust. That betrayal cut so deep I didn't even know what to do with myself. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at her phone, feeling a mixture of disgust, heartbreak, and pure rage boiling inside me. The next day I decided I had enough evidence. I was ready to confront her again, but this time I was going to lay everything out. No more lies, no more bullshit. I didn't want her to spin her way out of this. I wanted the truth in her face. So I called her at work and told her to come home early. When she walked in, I was waiting for her in the living room, her phone in my hand. She looked confused, maybe even nervous, which made me feel a little better. At least she knew I wasn't blind anymore. I told her I'd seen everything, her messages, her secret hiding spots, her lying about meeting Mark just for sex. I told her I knew she'd been screwing my brother, that she'd been lying to me for months, maybe longer. Her face twisted with that bitchy, defiant expression she always wore when she thought she was right. She snapped back with some bullshit about how I didn't understand her, how she was stressed out, and how I was just insecure. She called me jealous and possessive, like she always did when she got caught. But I wasn't buying it this time. It was different. I saw through her lies, saw that she thought she could just talk her way out of everything. I told her she could save her breath because I'd had enough. That this was over, her lying, cheating, and her bullshit. I told her I was done, and I was done for good. I told her I wasn't sure if I could ever trust her again, and honestly, I didn't want to. She threw a fit, of course. Started screaming, calling me crazy, possessive, and a bunch of other names. But I just stood there, cold and calm, knowing I had finally seen the real her. That was the turning point. I knew I had to decide whether to fight for her or just walk away. The betrayal ran too deep now. I felt like I'd been stabbed in the back, by my wife and worse, by my own brother. The heartbreak was almost unbearable, but so was the anger. I just couldn't see myself staying in a marriage where the person I loved so much had lied and cheated behind my back and thought she could get away with it. I knew I needed to end this, to cut the cord, to start rebuilding my life from scratch. The question was, how? After that confrontation, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't stay with Lisa anymore. Not after discovering she had been cheating with my brother Mark and lying about it all along. The trust was shattered beyond repair. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut every day since I found her messages, and now I just wanted out. I didn't see any point in dragging this out, pretending everything was fine when I knew the truth. The pain was raw, but I also felt a strange sense of relief, like finally facing everything head-on was the only way to move forward. I sat down one evening, alone in the house, and thought about all the years I'd invested in this relationship. All the plans we made, the shit she said to make herself look innocent, her bitchy attitude whenever I called her out. It all felt so pointless now. I knew I had to tell her I was leaving, but I also didn't want a huge fight. I just wanted to get out of that house, away from her lies and start healing. So I sat her down and told her I was done. That I knew about everything, her cheating with Mark, her lies, all of it. That I didn't want to hear her excuses or her fake tears because I'd heard enough. I told her I was filing for a divorce. I did. Want to scream or yell, I just wanted her to know I was serious. Her reaction. Of course, she tried to deny everything again, called me paranoid, and said I was overreacting. She started crying, throwing herself on me, begging me to stay, but I just pushed her away. I told her she had no right to cry, that she'd betrayed everything we had, and I wasn't going to be her fool anymore. In the days that followed, I put together a plan. I found a lawyer, arranged for the divorce papers, and started packing my things. I didn't want her to think I was going to stick around just to be miserable. I also made sure to get a copy of all the evidence, those messages, her lies, everything. I knew I'd need it if she tried any legal bullshit or if she claimed I was the one cheating or lying. I wanted to be prepared for her tantrums and manipulations. Honestly, I felt numb, but deep down, I knew this was the right move. I deserved better than a woman who thought cheating and lying were okay. That weekend I left. I didn't even bother saying goodbye. I just packed my bags, took what I needed, and walked out of that house. The hardest part was leaving behind the life I thought we'd built, her bitchy attitude, her lies, the betrayal. But I also felt a strange weight lift off my shoulders. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was reclaiming some control over my life. It was brutal, but it was necessary. Now I'm staying with a friend, trying to get back on my feet. I know the road ahead isn't easy. I've got a long way to go to heal and forget. But I also know I'll be better off without her. I've learned that sometimes, no matter how much you love someone, they can turn out to be your biggest betrayal. And you've got to be strong enough to walk away, even if it hurts like hell. I don't regret opening my eyes or confronting her, because I'd rather face the truth than live in lies. And honestly, I want other guys out there to know, trust your instincts, don't ignore the signs, and never let someone treat you like garbage just because you love them. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you've got to walk away for your own sanity and happiness. That's what I'm trying to do now. Looking back now, I realize that the hardest part wasn't discovering her betrayal. It was coming to terms with the fact that the woman I thought I knew, the woman I loved, had been hiding such a massive lie behind my back. It's one thing to get cheated on, but it's another to feel like your entire life was built on someone's deception. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I could have been so blind. The truth hit hard. Trust is fragile, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to piece back together. But I guess what I've learned from all this is that you have to prioritize yourself. No one is worth sacrificing your dignity or your peace of mind. I thought I was doing the right thing by staying, by trying to fix things, but the reality was I was just prolonging my own pain. Now, I see that walking away was the only real choice I had left. It's not easy, and honestly, some days I feel like I'm still recovering, still dealing with the aftermath. But I also feel stronger because I finally took control. To anyone out there who's going through something similar, trust your gut. Don't ignore the little signs. They often add up to something much bigger. And don't be afraid to walk away if you have to. You deserve someone who's honest with you, someone who respects you enough not to cheat, lie, or manipulate. I'm not perfect, and I've made my share of mistakes, but I'd rather be alone than be in a relationship filled with lies and betrayal. This experience has changed me, no doubt. I don't trust easily anymore, but I also value honesty more than ever. I know I'll find happiness again, maybe not right away, but eventually. I have to believe that, Because the truth is, life goes on. And sometimes the worst pain is the lesson you need to become stronger. I've learned to stand up for myself, to never settle for less, and to always listen to that little voice inside that tells you when something's wrong. So yes, I'm moving forward. The pain will fade and I'll rebuild what's been broken. It's going to take time, but I'm confident I'll come out of this better, more aware, more cautious, but also more resilient. And if there's one thing I want anyone reading this to take away, it's this: never ignore your own worth. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And nobody, I mean nobody, should ever make you feel less than that.